Okay. So, welcome. We have another meeting with a master this morning. I would love to introduce to you all Payal. Now, here's the story of how I found this gem of a human. Payal's Instagram is payal.vedic science, right? You can see there, you're going to see her beautiful face many times. And Payal shares bite-sized Vedic wisdom in such a beautiful and palatable way that I was inspired to reach out and see if we can go direct and have a bit of a, tea and chat about how we can, as Western yoga students, really embrace and integrate the incredible Vedic teachings that have definitely changed my life and I know are very relevant for so many of us at this time. So, Payal, welcome so much. Thank you for coming. I'm so happy that you could be here all the way from Seattle in USA. So I just wanted to begin by asking if you wouldn't mind sharing your background and little story as to how you have so beautifully integrated your life with the Vedic sciences.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, Deborah, thank you for chatting with me and having me, allowing me to share a little bit of myself. So I grew up in India, and about 25 years ago, I moved to the US. In India, I found my guru, Shri Shri Ravi Shankar, who is the founder and enlightened master, and he's the founder of Art of Living. And Art of Living is operating in over 150 countries. So I was just a college student. I was not even a seeker, but somehow, they say that when your time is right, the guru finds you. And so I thought my time was right, and the guru found me. And that's where I learned the principles of spirituality, of what it means, to even talk about spirituality, what it is, through meditation, through yoga, through service, and through satsang, which is company of the truth. So I started my journey there, and for the last 25 years, I've been following that. And then a couple of years back, I really found my true calling and my true guru, which is Guruji of Bade Mandir in Delhi. And he was a spiritual, avatar of Lord Shiva. And he came here only for a very little time to basically connect with his devotees, to uplift his devotees, and to show them the path forward in this world that we are going through of massive disruption and transformation. And so that's what my journey has been. During this time, I also started delving into Vedic astrology and learned and did my certification, became a trained Vedic astrologer. Because I was just fascinated with what is the impact of stars and planets and constellations on our life. So that really kind of opened up a completely different dimension for me. And outside of this, honestly, you'll be surprised to hear that I'm actually an engineer by background, and I've had a very long career in tech. I've been as a leader both at Microsoft here in Seattle for 18 years and then Amazon for 3 years as an engineering and product leader. And a year ago, I left Amazon to start my own AI startup. I'm building AI to automate operations for healthcare. So, it's very interesting because on one hand, I'm deeply, deeply, deeply scientific in my thinking, in my approach towards life. And on the other hand, I believe so much in metaphysical, the completely other aspect of science, of our existence that science cannot even explain. So
Mm.
that's where, the kind of the things, get connected with each other for me. And then only recently, very recently, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I started my Vedic channel, Vedic Science, with the simple intent to bring the ancient Vedic wisdom that I have learned over my 25 years of being on the spiritual path with multiple masters and gurus and having really delved into the Vedic literature that is there. So the intent was to just bring it out in small, consumable bite size for the rest of the world, in a way that is simple for them and can be used for their practical day-to-day life.
And I think you've nailed that because that's exactly when I came across your channel. I was like, this is exactly what I'm getting from it. And it is like the way that you are able to weave a really key piece of Vedic science into our Western, I'm going to say Western, into our modern lives, I could say. And one of them actually that I really resonated with, you spoke about prana and how we often just view ourselves and our health maybe just through the lens of the physical body. But would you mind sharing, just as a bit of an abridge to give people an example, how do the Vedas speak of this pranic source of life and source of power, and how would it impact us now, and why do we need to know about it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you read autobiography of a yogi, Paramhans Yogananda, who was born in India and studied under multiple masters and then moved to the US to spread the Vedic wisdom in the US. He talks a lot about the cosmic energy in a way that is very scientific in nature. And this whole concept of prana or life force energy exists in all our Vedas, but he has been able to really distill it in a very scientific way. And the simplest way to understand it is that ultimately we are living on prana or the life force energy. And that energy needs to move from our bottommost chakra, the Muladhara chakra, to the top of our head, which is the Sahasrara chakra. And that is where this energy is the Kundalini energy that moves from the bottom to the top as we evolve. Now, every day that energy movement is happening, based on how we live our life. When we, use sunlight or food, there's food that we eat that increases the prana. Then there's food that actually brings the prana down. For example, the vegetarian sattvic food brings the prana up. Non-vegetarian dead meat brings the prana down. Exposure to sunlight increases the prana. This prana is actually what is coming to us from the cosmos. This is cosmic energy. And the way it enters our body is through our medulla, which is the back of the head, directly opposite our third eye. And we can actually sit in meditation and we can direct the cosmos to say that cosmic energy, please enter in through my medulla and recharge me. And we breathe in a certain way and follow certain techniques. If we do that and we learn that practice, Paramhans Yogananda says that we do not even need food to live. You can actually
Mm.
just use the cosmic energy, get enough prana to charge yourself. And this is exactly why you have the yogis in India that you will meet in the Himalayas who haven't eaten for years because they don't need food to live. They just live on the cosmic energy. And this is so beautiful because it is actually very scientific and very simple. It really just takes practice and obviously a guru that can teach you, but it is in all of us to do this. So that understanding, first of all, that you're not living only on oxygen, sunlight, and food, and also understanding that your health is not only dependent on what you eat and how you exercise and external things. Your life and your health is actually dependent on how you can channelize the right energy, and that is where the power of meditation truly comes in.
Yeah, beautiful. And I do feel, when we look at I feel like, let's just use my example as growing up in Australia, growing up, perhaps with a religion, a Catholic religion, but not with this innate teaching that is inherent every time I go to India. It's assumed that you
Yeah.
are part of all that is. and that you're not separate from these cosmic energies. And yet I feel it's such a disservice that, for those of us who aren't born into that knowledge, that we do experience the separateness and all of the challenges that come with that. And so for me, as you shared, the Vedic sciences are a way for us to remember our interconnectedness with all things. And that, when listened to and studied, as you say, keeping the company of saints and the company of masters, is all of a sudden you can't not help but live in a devotional way, right? And it's less about just me and it's more about, all of us and how we all access this resource that is, the life force of this universe. And, you mentioned something before about the great shift that is happening in the world at the moment. We know, even at the time of this recording, this particular day is one of quite a lot of upheaval on the world play or level of wars. I actually did want to ask you, being an astrologer, what are you getting from the Vedic sciences about this time? What could you share with us?
Yeah, it is definitely a tumultuous time for everyone on the planet because we are going through a period of transformation. A big part of transformation is destruction of what is old and creation of what is new. And this journey from old to new is not a comfortable journey. It is a journey that is full of, a lot of discomfort. And that's where we are. According to the Vedic astrology, there's a 7-year period from 2025 to 2032 where Earth and all of us are going to see massive changes happening at every level. And the way astrology explains it is that right now the speed of Jupiter in the sky is fast, very fast. And whenever Jupiter picks up such a speed, it and Jupiter is a planet of Guru, right? Is the master, is the most spiritual planet is Jupiter. When Jupiter picks up speed, it basically accelerates the transformation that needs to happen. And one of the things that's happening is scientists are studying it is the frequency, the Schumann frequency of Earth. It is actually Earth vibrates at a certain frequency, and right now that frequency is increasing from and where you must have all heard where there's talk about how the mankind is moving or is going to move from the 3D frequency into 5D frequency. So that's where, the astrologers worldwide are predicting that a lot of changes are going to happen in the next few years. We have already seen how 2025 started. It was, kind of for everyone, it was like, hey, things are changing. And 2026 has already started with quite a bang. It's probably the right word to use. Um, and uh, and people are seeing, and this is not only happening at the global level, right? People are experiencing just within themselves. Each one of us, it seems like is going through some kind of inner turmoil, our own inner transformation, where we are internally shifting from 3D to 5D, which basically means our old ways of thinking, our emotions, our way of living, our way of interacting with the nature, with each other. Everything is changing. For most people who are awake, there are people who are spiritually sleeping, and then there are people who are spiritually awake. For people who are spiritually awake, they are experiencing that change within themselves. They feel as a different person. They feel that their energy is shifting. And during this transformation, people will experience a lot. And that's why it is extremely important for us all of us to figure out a way that grounds us, just grounds us into what is happening, grounds us within ourselves, so that we can go through this transformation in a much easier way. If we do not ground ourselves through different yogic practices, yoga, meditation, a more intentional way of living your life, channeling of energy, serving others. If we don't do that, I think I think we would have lost a very strong energy wave and support that is coming from universe to make you a different, to evolve your soul. And then B, it might actually be that we may have to exit.
Mm. And it's always felt to me that, these practices, is to find the inner constant, like that place where we know that we can, even if it's just close your eyes and go within when everything else around is on unsteady ground. And it is right now. And if we're gripping and holding and wanting things to stay the same, that's when, people are really at risk of, losing their steadiness in the moment. And it's not, this is what I love about these practices. It's not about, well, do your Vedic study and have your yogic practices and life will be beautiful. No, life is going to be life. But we have a set of tools that we're able to anchor to. I wonder if you would, even from your experience, what you would say are the tools that you use the most to hold yourself steady.
Yeah, I think the biggest is, of course, chanting. And that is, I'm a follower, like I said, of Guruji, and he has emphasized a lot about the power of just listening to chants and then mentally chanting. Om Namah Shivaya is a beautiful, beautiful chant in the Vedic wisdom. Om Namah Shivaya is deemed as the highest most chant that can exist. And that Om Namah Shivaya, it is basically contains five syllables which align with the five elements: the ether, water, air, earth and fire. So that's the big practice. The other practice is around meditation. So just meditating with your body still, spine erect, eyes closed, and then just observing your breath, and you keep on observing till the time your thoughts they start to calm down, and then you enter into kind of a realm which is where everything else kind of dies down automatically, with your attention on your third eye. And there are a lot of these meditation techniques that people obviously can find online. There's a whole course called Kriya Yoga that Yoganand Paramhans and his institute teaches as well for people who are interested. So meditation is a big part, movement and yoga, right? Moving your body. And yoga is really the union of mind, body, and soul, right? So doing yoga practices so that you can align these three, that's a great way to ground. Another way is to be out in the nature as much as possible, especially in today's time where everything is so full of information, AI, the lifestyle that we all have. So finding time to be with the nature, whether it's nature walks, hiking, gardening,
Yes.
any of those activities can be very powerful tools to ground yourself. And I also think like even like simpler things like making sure like what do you do when you wake up, the immediate manifestation of gratitude, that thank you, God, or for giving me, for waking me up this day. May this day be beautiful. And then sleeping with a very grateful manifestation. These are very simple, simple things, but I believe that these are must in today's time. And in order for you to actually be able to lift your soul up so that it starts to resonate at the frequency that Earth is going to be resonating at.
Yes. Yes. And you're hitting the nail on the head in the sense of they don't have to be difficult processes. We don't have to spend hours and hours a day. I did a little post the other day about you don't need to do many things. You need to do one thing consistently.
Yes.
and so to really build simplicity and consistency so that we have a daily connection. And it's something that, I share a lot, and it's been a journey of mine to really embrace the first waking moments of the day. There's all those sayings about that you get ahead of your day before it gets ahead of you, and setting that. So I love that you just shared that. It's really, really up my alley, to hear this. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of like, I obviously teach and share a lot for modern Western students, and we're always bridging the gap, right, between this practice being predominantly known as a physical practice and how we can start to introduce more of the Vedic wisdom and the Vedic teachings. And so, what would be like, one or two teachings that you would absolutely share if you walked into a room of yoga students sitting on their mat and they're about to start a class? What would you say to them to have them land in such a bigger opportunity in their practice?
I think what comes to mind, there's just so much, but again, it's difficult for us to follow consistently everything. Um, I think the first is silence, and observing silence, and getting into the practice of being more silent than talking. I think that can be extremely powerful to conserve your energy and even to lift your energy. There's a saying that says that your whole life can be transformed based on what you eat, what goes into your mouth, and what comes out of your mouth. It's so powerful. So just like forgetting about everything, but just being intentional about what you're putting inside your mouth, right? What are you eating? And what is coming out of your mouth? What are you saying? And weighing each word, being intentional about each word that comes out of your mouth. And where it is not needed, do not speak, just be silent. I think if you just do these two things out of everything else that is out there for you to learn and practice as a yogi, as a yoga student, you will see already a change, a transformation that would start to occur. There's one more thing that I think all of us make a big mistake every day, because related to this, what comes out of your mouth is, um, when life beats you down, or even when you're stressed, you will say so many negative things. I am tired. I can't do this. I'm not capable. I will never get that job. My relationship with my husband will never get okay. Like so many negative things we keep on saying the whole day without even realizing what we are saying. But each one of these words, they are in the universe. They just stay in the universe. You know, they don't leave the universe. And so you have to be so intentional to make sure that you're saying the right thing, you're communicating with the universe in the right way, and really, knowing that the universe is just not there, something somewhere. It is very much, it is very much within you. And so you have to build a relationship with the universe, with the cosmos, with the cosmic energy, with the divine. In whatever form you see the cosmos or the universe or the divine, whatever it is, to build a relationship with it. And you will see how magically your life will transform.
Yes, yes, I could not have said it better. It is the peace. Like, if there is one thing that we get from all of this, is know that our daily practices are to build a relationship with this energy, with this divine energy. And I know my teachers say, give it a name, give it no name. It doesn't matter. It's just making your way that feels, heartfelt to you that you're able to connect with. One of my friends in India, who's also a Vedic astrologer and teacher, she shared something one day that was so different to how I'd heard it. And we always hear about the yugas, these times, and of the Kali Yuga, or the dark years, or the dark times. And she says, no, no, no. She said, these are the best times. She said, because information that was in some other yuga, some other time periods was only for the few, is
Yes.
being returned to the many. So
Yes.
what would you share to us about this Kali Yuga, this
Oh my
return of
God,
this?
you are so right, and the teacher is so right. This is written in the Vedas. So there are four yugas that the Vedas talk about. There's the Satyug, which is the golden age, where the way to get to God was through deep meditation for long hours, which is what everyone did, just and it was not available to everyone, only the chosen few. Then there was the Treta Yuga, which was the Silver Age, and where the way to get to God was through penance, doing long, long hours of penance, and subjecting yourself to a lot of a lot of uh, uh, lot of stress and difficult things in order to find God. And then God would appear and ask you, okay, what do you want? And to grant you boons. Then there is the Dwapar age, which is the Bronze Age, where the way to get God was through rituals. You would just offer things into the fire, do yagyas. You would do these month-long rituals, and then God would come, and kind of, you'll find God. In Kali Yuga, which is the dark age or the age of information, they say the getting finding God is so easy, because all you have to do is close your eyes and remember God. That is it, and God will come. It's so easy to please God. Why? Because God knows that in the Kali Yuga, which is such a busy, fast-paced, stressful life that people are leading, no one has the time to remember me. And but the ones who actually end up remembering me, they will find me very easily.
Mm.
So it's a beautiful time to be alive. There's no better time for a seeker to be alive than Kali Yuga. No better time.
Yes, I'm so happy to hear that. And it is my experience that there is, in sharing these pilgrimages in India and the different teachers that we've been to sit with, there's such a willingness to share, and there's such an embrace of like, this knowledge is for all. This is for all of us to make our way home, to ourselves, to our hearts, to our connection. And it's beautiful that we have access to it. And this just being another avenue, our little conversation, today hopefully will touch a life here, there, or wherever it's destined to go. So I really do just want to thank you so much, Payal, for your time and for all that you share online. Once again, if you do want to follow, please jump on Instagram. It's Payal Vedic Sciences, and you'll spend hours just going through each of these little mini darshans that you'll be able to have with Payal, and learn more about the Vedas. So thank you for all that you do and all that you share, and we wish you every happiness and success at this time.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Deborah. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.